All right. Three, two,
2,
1.
1.
Welcome back to episode 2 of Juice is the New Tea.
Let's go.
I am your host, Eleni Simos, and I am super excited to be here. He's a friend. He's the founder and owner of Bolt Fitness.
There we go.
The one, the only, Josh Krantz.
Let's go.
Kid.
That was a great intro.
Thank you.
This is exciting.
This is really exciting.
I'm pumped, man.
I'm
This
so
is so
excited
cool.
to have you here.
You're killing it.
Thank you for being a part of this journey in all of the ways. You're like, honestly, an inspiration to me, an inspiration to so many people, the thousands of people that know you.
Appreciate
so
that.
I honestly felt like there was no better person to kick off this new chapter, this new era of the clean eating chick.
I'm loving this
with
era
you here.
already.
Yeah,
Let's
there
go.
we go. That's
there
it.
we go, kid.
Awesome. So I want to just like dive in a little bit more, give people a better understanding of who you are, how you keep elevating day by day, and how you keep it all together. Because like I said, one of the most inspiring, hardest working people that I know to date, all of the ways high performing individual, fitness, built a business in the last, I know, 1, 2.
You're naming them off, man.
Kid, like
I'm
this
doing
is,
those
this,
things.
You are doing
all
it.
Right, let's go,
Born
man.
and bred. I feel like you're like
I feel like you're doing those exact things
well,
too.
that's, I mean, great minds.
There we go.
Great minds.
Think alike.
But you're like really starting, you're creating such a strong blueprint, I feel like, for fitness influencers, for fitness enthusiasts, and also for entrepreneurship, you know? Like I respect that so much.
I appreciate it.
Of course. So I'm super excited. Before we get into it though, I do want to give you a little cheers.
Cheers.
With our recharged, cleansed juice.
Charge up.
Health, wealth, happiness, sex, and stocks.
Come on.
God bless. You already know.
What is it? It's health, wealth,
happiness, sex and stocks. Right.
I
know you love that.
I like that.
So I want to give a little bit of a backstory.
That one tastes so fresh.
Isn't it? Because I just made it.
Let's go, man.
Right? Enjoy. Drink up. Cheers.
What kind of straw is this?
That is a stainless steel Cleanse branded straw.
I knew there was something else there.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, it's special.
Yeah. It's great.
Because sustainability.
Got it.
We're keeping the
We're
earth.
eco-friendly.
That's it.
We're all things
Glass
friendly.
bottles.
Glass.
Cucumber, blue spirulina.
There's more.
Green apple, ginger, lime.
There it is.
Recharged. Made that.
Charged up.
Made that little blend for a company called Bolt Fitness.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
You did. It's a hit.
Yeah, it's a hit.
We love
it's
it.
A banger.
When's Recharge back in the fridge?
Recharge is going to be back in the fridge in a few weeks. I'm going to ask our audience member here, the one who kind of keeps it all together for us, the boss, in a couple of weeks. Yeah, they'll see it. They'll see it in the fridge. So little backstory, right? You already know, but I met you 5 years ago in 2020.
Dang, it's been that long already?
I know, it's so crazy. So crazy.
Sheesh.
I had just moved back from LA.
Right.
It was COVID.
I remember that.
The world was dark. Gyms were closed.
Dark, yeah.
You had just left a fitness organization that you had been with for years at that point.
Yep.
And you decided, ground up, gyms are closed. I have a purpose. I need to keep working out. I need to like build something.
Correct.
You started hosting outdoor fitness classes.
Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit about what your mindset was in that time? Like, what were you?
That was That was a lot to unpack there.
I know there was a lot going on. But 5 years ago.
I can't believe it's been that many years.
I know.
But COVID, right? Like that was a really tough time for everyone. And I think just to focus on how we were forced to be inside. And that was really the kind of underlying, I think, challenge for so many of us. People were getting sick, but then we were forced to be inside. So we're not socializing, we're not exercising. The gyms are closed, businesses are closed. And as I'm in this kind of transitional phase, leaving a gym, I have this following with me, and I'm like, how do I tap into that if all I've been doing there in previously is working with people in a gym?
Right.
Now that they're closed and I'm leaving,
right.
Where am I going to take these people?
How are you going to
pivot?
How
am I going to pivot?
Yeah.
You know?
And like not lose the momentum of what you're doing and like knowing that there's a need for fitness and bringing it outside.
Right. Yeah. So we tapped into the parks, you know? At the time, was I married yet?
No, so when I met you, so this is like
going
back into
back.
it. Like every year, knowing you, knowing Michelle, an annual milestone each year. When I first met you, you were just getting ready to propose.
Yep.
We were doing outdoor fitness. It was like 40 people rolling deep, 6 a.m., 8 a.m. You were like figuring out membership and like.
We were figuring out all these things. And at the time, Michelle, shout out Michelle.
Shout out.
Wife now.
Wifey for lifey.
Who has always been such a pivotal person in my growth and our growth. But she told me, you know, why don't you try to rally the troops, so to speak, and find a way to tap into all these people and teach in the parks.
Yeah.
So we started out small with like 3 or 4 people at a time.
No way.
Yeah, we were in the parks, and then you were one of those.
Yeah, but
I was doing super small groups.
I mean, I feel like I only remember it when it was like 50 people at the park
but
in
before
Queens.
then, it was super small groups.
Wild.
And I had posted, you know, on social that I'm doing training in the park, private sessions.
Yeah.
And that quickly took off, you know, because people are looking to work out.
Yeah.
And so I had invested in
especially
some
when
basics,
nothing was happening.
You know, dumbbells, bands, a couple steps, agility ladders, all these things that I could just take to the park in the back of my trunk. People were loving it. And we were soon finding like we're booking all these small sessions. And I'm not the brains, Michelle is. She's like, why don't we just try to funnel them into one big session?
Right.
I was like, oh. Okay.
A little pondering.
Tell me more.
There. Yeah.
Right?
What's
Tell
up?
me more. And how is that going to work? So many questions in my head. Systems, scalability.
Yeah.
How are we doing this?
Yeah.
How are they booking?
Right.
Where are we going to go?
Right.
Right? All these different.
It's like crazy.
Thinking about it now. All these questions. But to kind of speed it forward.
Yeah.
We put it out there that we would be doing group classes. And we figured out, all right, let's get a system to book classes. So it's not kind of just off the cusp and I'm writing it on my iPhone notes.
Right.
I do love notes.
Yes, we do.
We do love notes.
We love a shared note.
Yeah, we love a
Honestly,
collaborative note.
Efficiency. We work smarter, not harder every day. Kid.
But we put it out there and it blew up.
Yeah.
And it blew up. And then we were figuring out what park are we going to teach at in the morning? What park are we going to teach at in the night? What are we going to do if more people show up than accounted for? You know, word of mouth was just spreading and kind of to just let this question and move on. But we figured out how to start in the parks and we really thrived there for a couple years.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to keep going there, but
I mean, I just felt like, well, it was just so interesting because knowing you and having like come fresh off the plane, LA.
Yeah.
I'm back. I'm just like a yogi. I'm like moving slow, mindful.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you were super.
I picked up like a easy.
No,
I picked up dumbbells here and there, but like I was not, you know, like you really helped transform me into my athletic era.
Yep.
Bless.
But
yeah, it was just like to see something grow and to also like it pinged my spirit of like collaboration and like just watching the two of you grow as like being together, making all this happen, being then responsible for these people's like fitness experience and like everyone's asking, when are you opening up a space? Or, you know what I mean? Like I just saw it grow into something.
It grew quick.
Yeah, it really did.
It grew quick. It was really 2 years of day in and day out showing up in the mornings at like 6 a.m. in the parks.
Setting everything up.
Setting it all up.
Yeah.
Taking it out the back of the truck, putting the dumbbells out, like everything you would think you have to do.
Right.
We were doing that.
Right.
And then we were cutting and doing it again at night for another huge group, like 30 people in the park, Fort Totten.
Yeah.
And I remember everybody would just be riding their bikes, passing by, like, what is this? Coming up to us, what is this?
Right. You really like took a otherwise dark time and allowed it for you to propel you into now what you own, which is an actual physical location.
Right.
So in 2 years, you went from outside, building that momentum, building the membership space, and then you opened up Bolt Fitness in... Are we 3 years ago we opened?
This is about to be year 3.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What?
Yeah. So again, like going to like the annual milestones of like ever since knowing you, just like each year you're hitting one goal after the other. And I just feel like how was opening up a gym always your forefront? Because I know that you you had left the gym that you were previously with, you started doing outside.
Yeah.
And then was that goal always to open up a physical location or like what were you? You know?
Well, a little bit more backstory on me. You know, my education is from Queens College, physical education major. So before training was actually being a teacher. So teacher for the DOE, teacher for elementary school, the phys ed teacher. So before it was really getting into the client aspect and personal training and to now a brick and mortar in our home business it was teaching the kids.
Yeah.
And that's where I really first thought this is going to be like longevity. I'm going to teach.
Okay.
It's safe. I'm going to do this. I'm going to collect a pension. Stability. Everything our parents
can fall back on.
Right.
Yeah.
But you don't know the other side until you get there.
Was that fulfilling for you?
So I'm navigating that early on. And then I get an opportunity to also do personal training because a lot of physical education and personal training go hand in hand.
Yeah,
they coincide well, right?
Yeah.
Different demographics, but we're teaching, we're responsible
You're being
for
patient.
people. Yeah.
Hey.
How many shoes am I tying?
Yeah,
like
a lot.
Yeah, I'm so patient. But as I'm figuring out that path, I had just gotten a job doing personal training one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward another year, my friend had said, hey, I have an opportunity for you to work in a group fitness. I was definitely nervous shifting gears.
Yeah.
But having that prereq as a teacher for the DOE, I'm teaching like 30, 40 kids every day.
Yeah.
Throwing stuff off the wall, cursing each other out. Like I can manage some adults.
For sure. So, cakewalk.
Like I can do it. No big deal. So I started doing the group classes for, another gym.
Mm-hmm.
And then I still didn't really know what my purpose was going to be because now I'm stuck between these two. I'm teaching for the DOE, elevating as a personal trainer. I'm tapping into group fitness.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whoa, this is cool. Like I like this energy of being around all these people.
Mm-hmm.
And but I'm really still focused on building it for someone else.
Yeah.
So they had approached me, the owner of them, and said, what's your goal?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you would want to open one of these?
Mm-hmm.
And that sounded great to me. I'm like, why not? Like that sounds like success to me.
Yeah.
I'll have a stake in somebody else's business, not even thinking that I'm capable of opening up my own business.
Right. That wasn't even a thought.
Because you don't think of yourself at that level yet.
Right.
I'm still in my early 20s. I'm still going out to Webster Hall on the weekends.
Yeah, like with blue hair.
Blue and blonde hair.
And blue and blonde hair. Right.
But purple too?
Ooh,
no.
I don't know. No, don't do that.
So.
No.
But
not your color.
I'm still wilding out on the weekend, showing up at the next
morning.
You're like
not ready to be responsible to be like, okay.
But someone dangling that idea of you having stake in something.
Planted a little seed in you.
This is cool. I can maybe see this down the line, right? But it was never really still to that question a goal of mine to have it as my own gym, right? I didn't see that picture yet.
Right.
And so then we're moving along. These years are passing by. I'm not really as satisfied as I'd like to be. And, again, tapping into Michelle, she was telling me you could probably do more than this.
Breathing that life into you. And
other people had mentioned that too, like, Josh, why don't you open up your own thing? And I would always be like, I'm just going to open up one of these.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But it takes like a moment, and now shout out COVID and this whole realm of craziness with politics, COVID, what we can't do, what we can do. All of that triggered a point where I think everybody was like, all right, I got to change what I'm currently doing.
For sure. Right? I think for a small group of people, it really activated something in everybody to be like, okay, what I'm doing or the route that I'm going is not really fulfilling me.
Right.
I feel like that time period, if you use that shutdown to your advantage, it activated something in your spirit to build something for yourself.
And you're always coming out of like a negative with a positive if you channel that right energy and make the most of that time. Unfortunately for a lot of people, that was very, very difficult. But a lot of people also got reinvigorated and was like, all right, this is not the path I want to be on. So what am I going to do different?
Right.
And so case in point. Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to open up a gym for someone else. I'm not going to build someone else's dream. I'm going to really channel into my own energy, lean in on myself, bet on myself. And that's where that dream started to become more reality, going to the parks, leaving, and then that journey started kicking off.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now cut to, we're year 3, Bolt Fitness.
Crazy.
And I mean, was there it's just to be not only a member, but to also teach yoga there, to sell cleanse juices there.
Head of wellness,
to be
kid.
so
You're the
head of wellness, kid. To be like so involved and to see the day to day.
Right.
And to know you personally and professionally in all of the ways that we're connected. Was there ever a moment, now knowing the success, I have so many questions. Like,
ask them all.
Was there ever a moment going back to when you and Michelle first signed that lease?
Yeah.
Right? You're taking this huge leap of faith.
Yeah.
Were you ever like, holy shit.
Absolutely.
Are we able to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Duh.
Right. Like
right?
How did you talk yourself through knowing that like this is what you want to do? You got this. Like, how did you keep yourself motivated and inspired?
It's phases.
Yeah.
So it's not like, as we just discussed, it didn't go from just leaving the DOE to opening Bolt.
Yeah.
It's all these challenges that are preparing you for these next steps. So each challenge has something that you are going to grow from, learn from, and then you'll use that in the next one.
Yeah.
Right? So whether it was becoming a teacher and a personal trainer and then going into group fitness and then leaving that and teaching in a park, you're faced with challenges and you learn to overcome them.
Yeah.
So when that next one comes, case in point, the brick and mortar, there's, of course, uncertainty, but
totally.
you're not afraid of that.
Yeah.
In the beginning of entrepreneurship, and I'm sure you could like speak to this for a few, but that first time you jump ship, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, am I sinking or swimming?
Yeah, you're like,
but
what?
if I'm doing this, I got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right? I got to figure it out.
Yeah.
So once you've done that once, when that feeling comes back around, you're prepared for it and you don't shy away from it. You kind of head onto it first. Like you go straight at it.
Right.
When it comes to brick and mortar, it's finances and calculating that stuff. I'm not good at that.
Yeah. Michelle.
But Michelle.
Shout out again.
Shout out again.
I think we need to have Michelle on in a later
we talk.
episode,
It's
right?
like, should Michelle just be here? Yeah. So I'm not doing much, but
bro, you're doing doing a lot. Come
but
on.
no.
Yeah.
But Michelle is literally doing it. But it's calculated. You have to crunch these numbers. You need to do your finances. You need to say, hey, I have this many people attending classes, and this is how much this is going to cost.
Yeah.
How are we going to make that work? And then how are we going to make that work sustainable for a year, 2, 3?
Right.
So you do all the work behind the scenes, and then you got to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
You can't hesitate. And I think another part is, for anyone going into entrepreneurship, you need to capitalize on the moment.
Yes.
Because they don't always come back around. Like, you need to be able to seize that moment when it's there.
I agree.
And if you don't, you'll be kicking yourself like shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yep. And you have to trust that when that opportunity presents itself, there's a reason your energy's aligned.
The stars are aligning,
go, the stars are aligning.
Summer solstice or something, whatever.
The spring equinox.
Shout out spring,
Shout
man.
out. Shout out to
Shout
spring.
Recharge.
Shout out to birthday.
Cheers.
Birthday energy.
2 days.
For you. Wow.
36.
Kid. Oh my gosh. That's wild.
Damn, I'm 36.
Accomplished a lot. Accomplished a lot. Like 36, solid.
It's good.
Solid year.
We're not mad about it.
No, we're not mad about it.
Mid-30s.
Aging gracefully. You're late.
No, don't do that.
No, right, because 37
is late.
Is late 30s.
And I'm 36.
All right, so this is your last year in your mid-30s.
Leave it
make
alone.
it count.
Just leave it alone.
Make
just
it
call
count, kid.
Mid-30s,
Make it count.
That's it.
Make it count.
That's it.
Going back a little bit to you and Michelle.
Yeah.
How do you guys balance partners in love and life, being married and working with one another? Because that is like so many people's dreams, mine included, of like building with your partner.
Yep.
You guys are creating a beautiful community around health, wellness, leveling up, fitness, all of that in all of the ways that Bolt does.
Right.
How do you guys balance like working with one another, and you have 2 kids, like you're parenting, like that is a lot.
It is.
And like how do you also keep yourselves accountable where like you guys do want to have like your date nights or you need to like prioritize your relationship, but at the end of the day, there's also this business and over 250 Bolt Fitness members that are relying on you guys for all of these different things. Like, how do you balance that shit?
It's a lot.
How do you do it?
It is a lot.
Seriously, because it's just the 2 of you like making it happen. We have a great team.
The team is absolutely crucial to the success. But before any of that, it's, friendship first. We were friends in the beginning before any of this all happened. We met in the gym and Charlene, shout out Charlene. Charlene, I think, told Michelle, yo, there's this trainer.
No way.
Yo, there's this trainer and he plays his own mixes. And the mixes are fire.
Oh, so it was the music.
Yo, bro, I used to DJ, kid.
Webster Hall.
Come on, man. It was,
Did you just did you just do that? Ooh. Okay.
So, I probably shouldn't have done that. No, but yeah, she told Michelle, there's this trainer and he's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Yeah.
And he does his mixes. He's cool. You're going to love him. We met and then that, right away there was like a little something there.
Yeah, a little
We let it simmer for a few years. She was doing her thing. I'm doing my thing. And then when we came together, obviously, it is what it is now. 2 kids, married 3 years. 3? Been together like 10 or more. But to answer that question about balance, it's the friendship first and relying on that and knowing that we got each other's back. But anybody who's in a relationship that is successful will tell you, social media makes it look very easy a lot of times.
Right. It's that facade. We talk about that all the time.
Perfect pictures, this, that. But it's so much more than that. And I think that next piece of importance is communication, right? Like having really good communication, which we didn't always have.
Right.
As you love someone, you have to keep loving them and keep changing how you love them, right?
I love that, Josh.
It does.
So beautiful.
For real. So I'm like, I'm doing the right thing. She's like, no, not that. You need to do it this way now.
Yeah, but I think because of the foundation of friendship, like there's already that respect.
Exactly, yeah.
And there's like an expectation, but like you guys look at each other as friends first, which I think is so important because if you're just like jump right into it as a relationship, there's different things,
It's tough, but balancing it all comes with time. And you got to remember, we didn't do all of this in the beginning. First, it was friendships.
Right.
All these different date nights, music festivals, whatever it was, just having fun, young, whatever.
Yeah.
Then we're like, all right, what's next? We're gonna live together.
Yeah.
So we're balancing out like, oh, I don't like how you just leave everything out and you're learning to communicate, why didn't you put your socks away? You're just learning how to communicate in challenging situations.
And patience.
Right? You're learning all these things and then the next chapter happens. So you get married, you move in and you're balancing that. And then when we started with the business and balancing the relationship and the business, that was tough. I remember we were literally pulling up to classes in the park, screaming, butting heads.
Yeah.
Like, but you didn't tell them that last class was canceled because it was raining. I thought you were going to do it. Yeah. And then we would both walk out the car like, hey guys.
Hi, hey, welcome.
What's up? I'll see you.
Like that, honestly, that's such an important quality to be able to do. Like you got to leave that in the car because you're holding space for like these 40, 50 people that are showing up.
Everybody. Yeah. And imagine we're not unified like that.
Right. Or like you let that energy show to other people.
Because it's easy to let that energy come out. But you're rooted in the bigger picture of like, oh, wow, there's 40 people here. Let's like lock in.
Yeah.
You ready?
Well, that's like pretty remarkable.
That was tough.
Yeah.
But now with the kids and balancing it all, again, it's all just been leveling up together, having challenges, having communication. When somebody feels like they might be dropping the ball, we vocalize it.
Yeah.
And we're willing to do that. And we know that we're committed.
Yeah.
When you're committed to whether it's each other, the kids, the business, and not every day is going to be sunshine.
Right.
So, you fight through it together.
For sure.
Yeah.
And knowing that and going into it and also knowing that there's so much at stake because you guys are building something so beautiful together.
Right.
Like it makes it's like, okay, you might be pissed because somebody left the dishes out or didn't clean up or whatever, but it's like there's such a bigger picture that you guys are working towards, which just to me outweighs anything else that might be.
Absolutely.
But from an outsider's perspective looking in, obviously knowing you personally, knowing Michelle personally, I know that, of course, like social media shows, but like you guys really are such like a strong unit, and I have so much love and respect for both of you. Like I feel like both of you show what's possible in a partnership as being friends, respecting one another, communicating, and also building an incredible business that just continues to blossom.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That was very nice. Yeah. It's tough, but we're doing it, and I feel like it's
anything worth having though. You already know is like
not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy, but day by day.
And shout out to the team though.
Yes.
Our team is
we do have a great team at Bolt.
Holding it down.
Yeah.
So to scale, you can't scale when you're just doing everything.
No,
so
for sure.
We're like 8 people on a team and everybody is amazing. So
yeah, a lot of support.
That is huge. Yeah, and then of course our community.
Yeah.
They're supportive too. They always ask about us. They always ask about Michelle if they don't see her.
Right.
So
it's all love.
It's all
really
love.
is
it
like such a good
does feel
space.
like a big family.
Anytime I know that anybody like walks in, even if they're like just coming to drop juices or they're going, but everyone's always like the vibes in there are immaculate.
It's genuine.
So I want to get in.
Shows.
Yeah. So I want to get in a little bit more about Bolt.
Let's do it.
So we have now like over 250 members, year 3.
Yeah.
I think what I am so curious, you kind of touched on it a little bit. How do you show up every day with the energy that you have? Like you're always there.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're always like high energy. You're keeping people motivated for over 250 members. Then your personal training clients, then your family. Like how do you, what is something that you, I don't know if it's like a mantra or like what is like the practice there?
I mean, it's always remembering like how you started.
Yeah.
And you got to remember those different turning points because it wasn't always 250 members. It wasn't always all these clients.
True, right.
I didn't always have these, amazing blessings like that. So you got to be appreciative where you're at. And a lot of people, I think it's easy to be like, oh man, I have to do this. But like, I get to do this. You know, I really get to wake up and train someone at 5 a.m.
Framing
if I walk into that, like, hey, all right, bicep curls. Like, no, that person's not going to want to train with me. But also just, it's not the energy of growth. And it's not successful. So you have to have that mindset about, I'm in a position where I get to do this. And I'm thankful that I'm able to, that people rely on me and count on me. And that helps you really step into that. That's not meant for everybody. But it's definitely motivating for me to know how many people are counting on me. Show up in day in and day out.
You really do have a lot of people that are, need you. I know sometimes if I come in and I've had a bad day and I need that workout or a PT session with you, whatever it is, like I rely on you to have that energy to keep me like, kid, leave it at the door or like, let's talk about it, channel it through what it is that you're doing in this moment.
Way more than just teaching someone to work out.
What you do is beyond fitness.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that's what personal training is too.
Not at all. Honestly, sometimes a therapy session.
I feel like sometimes with my clients, we may do 2 exercises and we just may really get into like deep conversation.
Right.
And that's being open and available to people. Of course, the fitness is key in addition to that. But, being able to be a good communicator and listen to people.
Well, yeah, for sure. I think that's definitely your strong point. Like it's not just clearly having this conversation with you right now.
Yeah.
All of the conversations I've had with you, it's not just like, here's your bicep curls, here's your program, goodbye, good luck.
Right.
You're insightful, you're deep, you're very wise, and you have this energy that shows that you've been through things in the growth. So that's why I gravitate towards you in all of the ways that I do.
Yeah.
So I think that that's amazing. It's also that perspective of like, you get to do this.
Yeah, no, I think that's the key.
Yes.
I really do.
100%.
I really do. It's easy to get so caught up in, I would be more happy if I'm doing this or,
it's
I have
language.
To do this. It's absolutely
it's the language. If you say like, oh, I have to go train this person or I have to teach classes, like
you're already
tapped
out.
My body is strong. I'm able to do this. I have the energy. I have the blessing that there's 18 people in this class that are waiting to have this workout. Right.
Instead of, oh man, this class is packed. Right.
Right.
Total,
it's that perspective
total different
shift. 100%.
Tonality. Yeah.
So I mean, the gym is consistently growing. There's so much coming up. We've done so much in 3 years at Bolt.
Yeah.
I want to talk. I want to talk about like the high rocks, your triathlons.
Yeah.
How I think it was like 2 years ago that the gym did their first high rocks.
Yeah, we did it 2 years ago.
How the hell did you get 60 people to enroll in this idea of high rocks? Because you brought it to us before anybody had really heard about it. You're like, I heard about this new competition like high rocks.
Yeah,
and
I remember that
you brought
team
it to the
meeting,
team meeting, and I'm like, oh God, what the hell? I'm like, what's this high rocks? And I'm like, oh God.
Well, you know what it was? What? First, it was Spartan Race.
Yeah.
Right? So shout out Spartan.
Right.
Spartan Race had its time. Everybody's doing Spartan races. If you work in a job, like everybody in the office is
team
like,
building.
I'm going to a Spartan race. Let's go. I'm fired up. Like bandanas and eye blacks.
Yeah. Boom.
Right.
Ready to go.
Ready to go. Tough Mudder. So that was an era, which we did. We did a Spartan race, like 40 deep. We took the yellow cheese bus out to Jersey. And like, that was a great experience. But then the next year, it was like, I don't know if I want to do another Spartan race.
See, it's that consistent annual leveling up.
And it's like, what else is there? Because aside from High Rocks being this great sport, it's, as a gym for Bolt, what can we rally the gym around? Like, what presents itself for our community that people are going to be invested in and invigorated by?
Yeah.
So when I saw High Rocks and I saw like the growth that it was kind of moving towards, I'm like, oh, this is for sure up our alley. Like, we already do this type of training in our classes.
Yeah.
You know, now we just got to add these runs in between each station. But, you know, we're pretty much doing these workouts. Those runs, man. You got a High Rock solo coming up. But anyway, so we did the first one in the Meadowlands. Had a great response, 35 people or something. And anybody who didn't do it was like, oh, how was it?
Yeah.
You know? And Josh, are we going to do a Spartan race again this year? No, we're going to do High Rocks.
Yeah.
So if you were, you know, looking to do a Spartan, now you kind of got to get on this wave. People who were hesitant, and then they jumped in. So we now had High Rocks, not in Jersey, but it's at the Pier in New York. It's our stomping grounds.
Yeah.
Like, let's lock in.
Roll deep.
You know, we pushed it and we said, this is what we're going to do as a gym. You guys down? And everybody really was like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And
then we got like 60-something people.
And not even just to come more. Yeah. And not even just to come. We got the t-shirts, we did it up, you know, but not even just New York. Like, we also have members that are traveling throughout the world
DC,
to go to
Chicago, Spain.
Yeah. And like hitting these personal goals, working with either you or, you know, Josh, you know, Giovanni, John, like, you know, like doing
everybody.
their thing.
Right.
And it's like wild to see that, you know, you've led that. Like, I mean, granted, like, everybody's taking that accountability, showing up for themselves. But like, you brought this idea to us, and like, we're all, you got us all enrolled.
A part of growth as a gym is finding ways to get the community to come together.
Yeah.
You know, we do that enough already with different events and the way that our training is and how it cycles through different training styles, strength, agility, endurance. So we're changing things frequently enough with the different offerings, whether it's yoga, strength lab, run club. We do all these different things. But then, you know, I think a key piece of growth for gyms is, how do you get people to come together for something else? And how can we make that something really everybody wants to buy into?
Totally.
So High Rocks seemed like a great idea. And
yeah.
I think it's here to stay for a while.
I think so.
I don't know if it's going to be forever, but hey.
Yeah. And it's not even just benefiting the gym. Like, think of how many people are like crushing these individual goals. Like you mentioned, like, I have a solo coming up. Lord help me. But
you're going to need some help.
Yeah, I know. We're going to need some help. But I remember, like,
are you ever going to run?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Should we go on a run after this? Let's go on a run, bro.
I mean, ever?
I mean, I don't know. Yeah. No,
I'll let it go.
Yeah, thank you. But I like battled with, do I actually want to do this? I bought the ticket. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm all about it. And then I came in and I'm like, bro, I got to talk to you. And you're like, and you just side-eyed me. And you're like,
because how you not going to do it?
Well, I didn't even tell that to you yet. And you already knew. So then there was 2 other people in the gym with us. And I'm like, they're listening to this conversation. Yeah.
And they're telling you also.
And I said, I'm like, I don't think I want to do the solo.
Yeah.
And you just looked at me and you're like, okay, so don't.
Right.
Like, you just looked at me and you're like, okay,
so don't do it.
And I'm like, I was shocked that you didn't try to fight me. You weren't like trying to be, you know, and I'm like,
gotta let you hear yourself.
Okay, the reverse psychology started kicking in. You gotta let
somebody hear themselves.
Yeah.
Sometimes somebody will tell me that in a session. Oh, I don't want to do that. All right, so don't do it.
And then I sit with that for a moment. Yeah. And I'm like, wait, why did he just tell me? And then you're like,
are you really not going to do it?
You're not. And then you responded and you're like, you're not built like that. Fine, I get it. And I was like,
it's messed up, right?
I was like, damn, like, I felt that like ping in my heart. No, but like, you know, you said it with a smirk. You said it with a smirk on your face. Like, it wasn't, you know, you're never, your approach, everyone who knows you, your approach is, there's a lot of tough love there.
It is.
And playfulness, you know?
Right.
So then, but you're like, you know, it's fine. All right, so then don't do it. Don't do it. And then it got me thinking, like, okay, like, why am I struggling with the idea of like doing this solo competition, this fitness competition that I've done 4 times, but now I'd be doing it on my own.
Yep.
What am I looking to receive from you? Just this validation that like I could do it. But you had this way of like having a conversation with me where you were like, you if you don't want to do it, don't.
Yeah.
And I was like, kind of like, oh, I wanted somebody to be like, no,
to
Eleni,
fight you on
could
that,
do
right?
it.
And then you wanted to go back and forth.
And I'm like, why do I need that from someone? And then throughout the rest of the training session, like you leveled with me, you got down, you're like, all right, so what's really going on here?
Yeah.
Why don't you want to do it?
It's kind of breaking that ice.
Yeah.
And then, seeing what's deeper.
For sure.
Obviously there's more than I don't think I'm ready.
Right.
And then we tapped into that. We found out.
We got to the root of it.
We got to the root.
And we're just like,
and listen,
it's you versus you. But also I want to speak to like your approach, how it is different. Because I remember for me when I first started PTing with you, personal training with you.
Yeah.
And even like a few other people that I know that also train with you, there's this consistent thing that everyone likes that you pick up the phone and you call them.
Yeah.
That is something that I remember, like, you're not like I'll text you, but you like will pick up the phone and be like, hey, how are you feeling after your session? Or if I told you like, damn, I think I feel a little sore in my ankle, like you'll call me and you'll, like that level of intention in someone, you don't see that very often.
Yeah, it's important. People want to feel cared for.
Yeah,
they want to know obviously that you have their best interests, but I think having that on a deeper level just helps things stay long lasting, because you can have the training session, you can tap in once a week or whatever it may be. But when there's constant communication there, constant checkups to see how people are feeling, whether it's about the workout or just like a mental check-in, how you doing today. Do that to your friends, everybody, too. Like, checking on your friends, checking on your people.
Up, for sure.
I think as we get older, a lot of that falls to the side because you're always go.
Priorities change.
You miss those texts. I got to text my mom later, but,
Call her. Why don't you call her? Call her later.
But it's easy to let that go to the side.
Yeah.
And I think naturally I'd rather talk. I'd rather hear what people got to say. And I feel like those conversations always develop into something more too.
Well, that really stands out because it helps. I think like that verbal communication also, it keeps people accountable.
It does.
Like it really, I mean, going back a little bit to the first High Rocks, this was another kind of like standout moment that really like set you apart and just like made me appreciate you so much was the night before, like 2 days before we were all doing our first High Rocks as a gym.
Yeah.
I had like sprained my ankle.
Oh yeah.
I texted you. I was on site working an event.
I remember that.
And my schedule was crazy and I wasn't even already gonna like be able to train before. And I just sent you a text and I think I just said something like, my ankle is messed up. And you called me. I'll never forget this. Like you called me and I started crying.
Yeah.
And you just let me cry. Like you were like, I know, like you leveled with me. You weren't trying to like give me positivity. You were like, I know injuries suck. Like you were really just like, you let me have that moment.
Yep.
And then I don't know, just from that, like that always stuck out to me too. Like that attention or that like just care.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't offer that,
Yeah,
So
like I think we spoke about this, or I might have said part of what we do is so much more than the programming and the exercise selection, but it's really just being an active listener. Like people want to be heard, so you got to make sure you're not always thinking about what you're going to say next, but you're just really listening.
Yeah.
Because people will tell you what's going on if you listen.
For sure.
And you'll uncover some stuff, Absolutely. Because you just got to keep those ears open, kid.
I love that. So kind of wanting to transition a little bit. So we've touched on a lot.
Yeah.
You, as I mentioned, high-performing individual, running the gym, wife, you have a wife, all the, family, everything.
Yep.
And the personal goals that you've reached for yourself, both personal, professional, fitness-oriented. How, like, what is the next thing for you or what is the accomplishment where you're like, holy shit, I made it? Like, is that like running a marathon? It doesn't have to be something fitness. Like, is it like you writing a book one day? Like, what is something where you're like, okay, because I feel like you're constantly striving for success and growth, which I love. But is there ever that marker where you're like, oh shit, like I made it?
I feel like to put it simply, you're always striving for more. Yeah. So I don't know that I have this notion of like I made it, but it is easy to be in such a constant motion forward. You forget to stop and realize how much you've accomplished.
Agreed.
So, I don't think I foresaw the gym and 3 years and 250 members and all these clients and 2 kids in the house. I didn't see that, a few years back.
Yeah.
But, you know, you when you stop to appreciate it, you're like, oh, wow, I actually have done a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I did do that. I did open up my own gym. I did start my own brand.
Yeah.
I am married with 2 kids. But as it continues, you know, I think it's always constant elevation. You know, now it's thinking about how can we scale this and open up more gyms?
Yeah.
How do we have more kids?
What's next?
Just kidding.
More kids?
Did I say that?
Yeah, you did.
No.
A little teaser for
Two is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think I heard that somebody else wants
Michelle's
3.
smiling right now. Yeah, she's like,
she's
yes.
smiling. She's like, he said it. I
got him.
I got him. That's it.
No,
so maybe a third, but maybe like more Bolt Fitness
Yeah,
locations.
more Bolt Fitnesses. Okay. You know, that is definitely the goal. I think we have proven what we do is an amazing training style.
Yeah.
So how do we get this out to more people?
Yeah.
You know, I think genuinely that we can have multiple locations.
For
and
sure.
I confidently believe that. For myself, you know, it's always tapping into different races, different challenges. I think you got to do something hard at least once a year.
I agree.
You got to do at least one thing that is hard. And I'm not talking about a hard like where it's got to be very challenging.
Outside of your comfort zone.
Challenging mentally, challenging physically, emotionally, outside of your comfort zone. And I think you will grow from that substantially.
For sure.
You know, the challenges that you're going to see going through that struggle will make you a better person.
Yeah.
And then you do that each year. Like last year, it was a triathlon, and I'm not a good swimmer.
I remember you told me.
I think I was the last guy out the water, bro.
Swimming is horrifying. Yeah. It's not it, man.
I honestly think I was like one of the last people out the water.
It's unnerving when you're like swimming and all of the limbs and everything is everywhere.
Right.
It's like, ooh.
But
are you gonna do that again?
We did that. I think so. I don't know.
No.
They have Ironmans, which is triathlon, but very long distances. I think I'm gonna do the half Ironman.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
We'll see. But challenging yourself once a year.
Okay.
Highly recommend it.
Heard you.
It would be great to get a marathon in there. Yeah. Bless. These knees, man.
Wait, so
I don't know. I think we can do it.
That's a lot. Like you want to run a marathon, you want to do a half Ironman. Okay, so like how do you are you distracted? Do you ever get how do you power through being distracted? Like what do you sleep? Like how do you do it, bro?
I'm on that 3-2 sleep.
So
we get 3 hours. And then we wake up in the middle of the night and fill up a bottle.
Okay.
And then we get another 2.
I like that. All right.
So we're on low sleep.
The 3-2 method.
You know what? It's like so many things will tell you sleep is like the number one.
Recovery.
But once you have kids, man, it's a game changer. Will it get better down the line? Yeah.
Yes.
But Austin's 2 and Alessandra's 3 months. So, but it'll get better. But knowing that, you know, the sleep is a challenge. But listen, we're showing up. We're getting it done. We're facing these challenges.
That's it. And we're making it happen.
And we're making it happen.
Every day.
Yeah.
Wait, but like, do you ever get distracted? Like, do you ever like scroll endlessly on social? Like, how do you put boundaries in terms of, because you are so active on social, you've built the Bolt Fitness page.
Right.
I mean, there's like almost 19,000 followers now.
It's crazy.
Like, amen.
Right.
And how do you creating content, staying, you know what I mean, in
Absolutely.
the mix of all of the trends and fitness things?
Yeah.
How do you like keep that boundary up?
Right.
Of like being active, but not overdoing it?
It's a balancing act for sure. And like with most things, you get better if you put intention behind it through time. In the beginning, I was struggling.
Yeah.
And I remember having these conversations with Michelle because I'm spending time trying to grow our social. And then I'm trying to make these different posts or create the content. As a content creator, you know it's such a process.
It is.
To create it, come up with the ideas, have a schedule. This didn't hit. Why? What do I got to do next? Reinvent the wheel. But then to come home and then I'm still on my phone. Michelle wants to spend time with me. Austin's ready to play Superman. Like, I can't be on my phone. So I have to figure it out. And in the beginning, I wasn't figuring it out the way I'd like to. And you got to have those conversations. This goes back to like what I was saying, a relationship. You know, you can't take it to heart. And you got to be open to criticism. Yeah. I think sometimes a lot of people will take something and it's like, oh, well, no, I'm trying to build a brand. So I got to be, you know, like take your guard down and hear what your partner's saying.
Feedback.
And be open to feedback. So I was like, all right, when I come in, I'm gonna put my phone down.
Yeah.
But if I have to answer it for a quick second, don't yell at me.
Yeah.
But and then so that's her growing
so
too.
You
But
made that conscious decision.
We both did.
Yeah.
And so now
phone down, be present with one another, be present with what's happening.
Be present with what's happening.
Yeah.
If I have to pick up my phone when I'm with a client, I'll tell them.
Yeah.
Or it's like, hey, I'm writing down your sets and reps, just so you know. Or somebody just texted me like, it looks bad.
Yeah,
if I'm like this.
Yeah, while I'm like struggling doing a freaking Bulgarian squat and I want to like, flip out.
Yeah, absolutely. Being present is key. I think no matter what space or career you're in, people want to be present. Yes. Right? Like we need that connection.
For sure.
What's the point of being here if we're both here?
Right.
Right. So
let's eye contact. Make it happen.
Let's be here if we're here. So it's challenging because the way that businesses work so much is through social.
Yeah.
So you can't just say, oh, I'm going to nix it. There will be times for my own personal page that I won't post for a few days or stories. Like I can disconnect my own page for a little bit. And I'm cool with that. But for the business, it is something that has to constantly be moving.
Right.
So, setting time to do that, planning it out. What's it look like? I think for Bolt now, because we do such cool workouts, people want to see that.
Yeah.
And so one of our easiest ways for content is like showing these workouts. We do a lot of cool stuff. So if we can get that out to people, it's as simple as I'm going to record this workout and then, chop it up.
Boom.
Boom.
That's it.
Easy content creation.
You make it sound so easy, kid.
Listen.
You make it sound so easy. So super quick.
Yeah.
What is like next for you personally, Josh Krantz? Anything exciting other than more Bolt Fitness locations?
Yeah, that's number one.
I know. That's the priority. I know. I think we're looking at some spaces.
Looking at some spaces. I'm locked in. I'm pumped about that. That is where I'm putting most of my energy in.
Yeah.
For me, on a personal, it's again trying to really tackle some of those races. Stay consistent in my training. Really being the best father that I can. That is something I think overrides everything. And husband, genuinely. The workouts and the business is key, but that's the most important layer.
Yeah.
So, trying to really just balance it all out. But I am doing, I'm also doing some workouts on a new app, which is cool.
Cool.
With Obey Fitness.
Amazing.
So that's great.
Congratulations.
More opportunities to work out with your boy JK.
Yeah, there we go.
So, worldwide, kid.
In the
so
box.
that's, in the box, man. Right. So that's a cool opportunity I just started. And we'll see where things go. But that's cool. Building the brand is great. Family, collaboration.
2 rapid fire questions for you.
2?
Yeah, maybe 3 if we have time.
Yeah.
Number 1.
Here we go.
Okay, you ready? Favorite exercise to build the glutes?
I really love Bulgarians.
Oh, why? Damn. That sucks. Not the hip thruster?
I know you love hip thrust. I love hip thrust too.
I hit a PR.
I love hip thrust too.
Yeah,
listen.
The Bulgarians?
All
right.
I just love to see the clients like.
Yeah, you love to see us suffer. Okay.
They're great though.
All right.
They're great. Hip thrusts are great too. Now I'm gonna knock a hip thrust. We like that.
All right, we actually do have time.
RDLs.
Okay, great. Yeah. We have time for 2 more.
2.
The second one.
Okay.
What is like a health and fitness hack that you recommend for someone who just like wants to start quick, like they want to, leap of faith, jump on their fitness journey? What's like one thing that you can tell them?
Yeah.
A little bit of advice to get people locked and loaded.
Going.
Yeah.
I would say it's know that the journey is going to be challenging, but just keep showing up. Keep showing up. Not every day is going to be a PR. You're not always going to feel great, and having some comfort in that and uncomfortability. It's going to go up and down. It's going to be a roller coaster, but if you stay committed, you will definitely see progress.
Amen.
Not everybody's progress is linear, so it's going to keep going around. It's
it's not.
But you'll get
what we
there.
Do?
That's what we do.
I like that.
You'll get there. And stick to the basics if you're not sure. Get some daily movement, even if it's 5-10 minutes. If you're working a job, desk job, and you're sedentary for most of the day, like break your day up, take a quick walk.
Yeah.
Do a little jumping jack, man.
Jumping
jack.
Go
do 5 jumping jacks.
Oh, thank
5
God you
times
didn't
a day.
recommend burpees. Oh gosh.
Get up and move your body.
Great.
And stay committed to it.
Yeah.
You'll get it.
I love
You'll get
that.
it. And if you need help, come on, kid.
Bolt, baby.
Come to Bolt.
That's it.
Come to Bolt. We got you.
Third and final rapid fire question for you.
Yeah, let's go.
What would be the theme song of your life?
Wow.
Think about that.
Dang.
I know. I put you on the spot.
What's yours, bro?
Oh, my God. Obviously, it has to be Work Bitch by Britney Spears.
No way, me too.
No, get out of here.
No.
Or like Today Was a Good Day by Ice Cube.
Wow.
That was a good one, right?
I don't know that one.
You don't? Oh, all right.
I know.
I didn't educate you after this. Wow. Just
Can we play it right now?
No.
Okay. Damn.
All right.
All right. No.
Theme song.
Yeah.
Think of your day to day, bro. Like, what is the song that's playing in the back of your head where you're like driving your car and you're like going to PT or going to teach class and you're like, this is the theme song of my life. This gets me hype. Like, when someone does my biopic, this is going to be the intro.
I saw Dom Gala this weekend.
Okay.
And he brought out Kid Cudi.
Wow.
And then he played In the Pursuit of Happiness.
Okay.
And that was lit.
Okay. I like that. That's very on brand for you.
You know what?
Yeah.
We're in a pursuit. Yeah.
Great answer.
Come on, man.
All right, cool.
We're in a pursuit of happiness.
Always.
That's
I love
it.
that. What a great way to end. Cheers. I love you so much.
Cheers.
Thank you for joining.
Let's go,
Health,
kid.
Wealth, Happiness. For more information on Josh, you can follow him, Josh Krantz Fitness.
Let's go.
And at Bolt Fitness, if you want to come check us out.
Josh Krantz Fit on IG.
Bless. Josh Krantz Fit on IG. Go. And yeah, thank you so much for being
here. Thanks, kid. This was great. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
More.
To many more.
Let's go.
All right. Feel good.
See you. Let's go.
Crushed. Juices the New Tea is brought to you by Cleanse Juices. For more information on 3-day juice cleanses and 4 flavor packs, visit iamcleanse.com. Use code JUICESThenewT for 10% off all orders.